I'm George Santos, and I'm here with We Are Not Journalists.
Coming up on We Are Not Journalists. How petty are we?
I love how we were so tired and beleaguered, and then the two of us had this just shit-eating grin on our faces.
Condoms, they're so loose and baggy. I mean, who are they even for? Am I right?
Yeah, just call them up.
Yeah. Calling them up.
Them a call.
Calling up a black person.
Calling the black person.
About sneakers for Trump.
Welcome to We Are Not Journalists. I'm Maximilian Clark.
I'm Walter Masterson.
And we all know that Walter is famous for his ability to sneak into unexpected places.
Oh, yeah.
Like 007.
Ooh, shaken not stirred.
Or an IMF agent.
Ethan Hunt energy. I like it.
Saucy little leprechaun.
Oh, you can't steal me, Lucky Charms.
Or HPV.
Oh, yeah, because you ever get HPV on the back of your hand? You look down and say, how'd this get here?
And now Walter Masterson has snuck back into CPAC.
Oh, yes, I went to CPAC.
The heart of the beast.
The center of the alt-right.
And you managed to sneak past their defenses. How'd you do it, Walter? How'd you get in?
Well, I applied for a press pass using my name.
And they gave it to you?
And they gave it to me.
But last year, they threw us out the second they found out who we were.
Yeah, they threw us both out.
Just the first day, they're like, who are you? Oh, no.
Yeah, we were there.
Neither of you here.
Yeah, that was a little surprising. I was there. We were there for about 90 minutes.
Yeah, like 2 hours. Great content.
But
this year, they were just like, Walter Masterson? Sure. What the fuck are you going to say that we aren't going to say?
Yeah, they're like, yeah, we're live streaming this, so I don't know what you think you're doing, really.
And I think it really shows the change in MAGA culture over the last year, because before it was all like, okay, now we can take off the masks and show people who we really are. And this year they'll just go on TV and say black people can't fly airplanes. So.
Yep. No, I think what was said in the main room just almost dwarfed any interview I had. I'm like finessing, trying to get them to be like, here, say the quiet part out. And they're like, what do you mean, blacks? And I'm like, oh, damn it, come on.
And we're going to have a lot of footage from Walter's trip next week on the show. But there was something that was so batshit crazy that even CNN noticed.
CNN was like, is something going on at CPAC?
Right, because they posted this clip of show favorite Jack Posobiec.
Well, wait, I have to ask, which clip is this?
Oh, I was going to say the more insane one, but let's play both.
Yeah, we're going to play both.
All right, welcome. I just wanted to say, welcome to the end of democracy. We're here to overthrow it completely. We didn't get all the way there on January 6th, but we will endeavor to get rid of it and replace it with this right here. We'll replace it with this right here.
Amen.
You know, Walter? Trifle foreboding.
I mean, Max, he was just joking. Well, I mean, he mentioned January 6th. I mean, right?
It was hilarious.
It's not, I mean, we all know that January 6th was perpetrated by Antifa and the FBI.
Yeah.
It's not like, Jack Posobiec would be pushing two narratives simultaneously.
It did get a laugh in the room, so.
Yeah. I mean, he's just joking. You liberals just never get it. It's not like he's pushing armed sedition or anything.
No, that would be crazy.
Yeah.
It'd be crazy if he was just like, rise up.
Yeah, no, weird.
Yeah. Actually, you were here for this other thing that he said.
Oh, yeah, play that clip.
Lock up the criminals, liquidate the administrative state. Are you prepared to fight? Are you prepared to take their best shot and say, is that all you got?
Are you prepared to get spanked and say, thank you, sir, may I have another?
Yeah, this is very brat coded right now. I feel like we're learning a little too much about Jack Posobiec's like secret wants and desires. But we should play the rest of the clip.
They say Alexander gathered his Macedonians before the march on Persia. Well, I say, I see before me a gathering of Magadonians here in this room.
Nope, I thought I can get through the rest of the clip, but what?
Magadonians.
No. They say that Alexander gathered up the Macedonian. What the hell does that mean?
Well,
Alexander was Macedonian.
It's one of those sayings. You ever you get your friends together for a Friday night and be like, hey, I'm gonna gather up my Macedonians like Alexander the Great. How often?
What could that possibly mean? Like, he had a standing army. His father put in reforms to give them a standing army in Macedonia. Like, it's not up for question.
Max, you know what I think you're upset about? I think we know what you're upset about.
That he came up with Macedonians and worked backwards.
Yes.
I
know you too. That's what you're like. I know that inside as a writer, your writer brain kicked in. And you're like, nope.
He was on an airplane, and in his head, he was like Macedonians, more like, oh shit, how do I get this into a speech?
MAGA donors. MAGA donors. Okay.
MAGA Macedonian.
Istanbul,
Macedonia.
Constantinople. Okay.
I'm cooking. and everyone cheers like he said something coherent. This is why we can't have nice things. Anyways, this wasn't the part I wanted to talk about.
What part do you want to talk about?
What part? This part.
And after we raise that swamp to the ground, we will establish the new American Republic on its ashes. And our first order of business will be righteous retribution for those who betrayed America. They will be judged.
That part.
Oh, that part, yeah.
If you think that, he just got carried away, he's reading that part. He picked up his notes.
If you're watching the video, he looks down. He's like, we're going to get for righteous, yes, of course.
The vast slaughter of anyone I don't like. Yes, yeah, I wrote that down in advance in my hotel room right after I came up with Macedonians.
You know, the funny thing is I'm walking out. I'm leaving. Mm-hmm. All of my recording equipment is in my bag. I'm done for the day. Mm-hmm. And then I hear him say that line, we're going to seek righteous retribution. As I'm walking by him in person, and I'm like, God damn it. And I was like, oh, I wish I was recording. And then I was like, well, thank God it's being live streamed.
It's the main stage. He's at a podium.
By the way, he said that 100,000 times.
Yeah.
And he was on the main stage, the smaller stage. He was
righteous. It's a new buzzword. He wants it out there. He wants people thinking, oh, we are going to have vindication. We are going to get revenge for get revenge for the things.
Let me see. It's
because the
schools, the trans
they're
kids
teaching
in the schools.
White people are bad.
Yeah.
To hate successful people. Like,
someone was mean to a cop once. And,
they are going to execute people because they're mad at them over stuff that Jack Posobiec made up in his head. Do you know what this is? Yeah. This is that partner that you dated for like way too long in college or like late high school who just like woke up and had a dream where you invented critical race theory and then won't talk to you in the car.
Yeah, they're like, I had a dream that you cheated on me. And you go, oh, okay, well, I love you. And they're like, okay, no. And then they start, and then they look at you with the side eyes. They start describing how you cheated on them in the dream. And you're like, wait.
It's your dream.
This didn't happen. And
yeah,
they're like,
it's like,
and then they go over it, and you're like,
yeah. I was in the shower, and I thought about what would happen if we had a fight about this, and so we have to hang Mike Pence.
Yeah, I feel like in this scenario we're making it a woman, but this could just
no,
we don't need to like make this metaphorical like, oh, it's like that woman you dated in college. It's like, no, it's like that toxic guy you dated that always, gaslit you and made you out to be the bitch in any narrative he told his friends and family.
Yeah, would always like say that like you yelled at like, oh God, you don't respect me or something.
No, he didn't talk like that. He was like,
you
yelled, yeah.
Yeah, well, you're always getting on my case over shit.
Yeah.
Like, name an example. Oh, pff.
Yeah.
And then just like storms off angry.
Yeah.
Yeah. By the way, if you've never dated either of these people, you probably don't have a lot of experience. Maybe you're too shy. As part of our pickup artist MLM, we are selling a brand new site.
Oh, yes. If you've never been on a date.
Andrew Tate approved.
Yes.
It's calcium, zinc, bull urine, paint. It's everything the body needs in order to have the manliest alpha.
Yeah, that's who's sponsoring this episode. It's fantastic. So, Max, I got to tell you, I started using this stuff. Normally, when I would lose to some 14-year-olds in Call of Duty at 3 a.m., I'd go to punch a hole in the drywall. I'd barely make a dent. After taking this stuff for a week, I don't even need to wind up. Don't even need to step into it. Yeah. Now no one can even come over.
It's basically unlivable.
I know. I mean, you see it.
Yeah, no, this is not the apartment of a mentally healthy person.
Yeah.
So get yourself some Throbex.
Anywhere that gas station boner pills are sold.
I guess we should probably talk about the election.
No, let's talk about black people.
Well, let's do both. In the 2020 election, the black voting base was a huge reason why Joe Biden won. Black volunteers,
He won.
public. Oh,
sure.
Let's not do that. Okay. A lot of black communities came together. They put this man into office. A lot of civic leaders, politicians, community organizers.
Yeah, I mean, but all of that's going away. That entire infrastructure is just flipping over to Trump.
Trump?
Yeah.
So you're telling me that black voters in America, this America right now, are going to start pulling for the party that, because of DEI, are trying to discredit every black professional in any profession, with the possible exception of Clarence Thomas, a party that, under the guise of CRT, is ripping the stories and poems of black authors out of the shelves of libraries and schools? You think that this GOP is going to win the black vote from Joe Biden?
Yes, Max, it's not even going to be hard.
What? Why?
Okay, well, Trump came out with a sneaker.
Even the sneaker thing. I was on social media last night. Very interesting. As you see black support eroding from Joe Biden, this is connecting with black America because they love sneakers. They're into sneakers. They love this is a big deal, certainly in the inner city. So when you have Trump roll out his sneaker line, they're like, wait a minute, this is cool. He's reaching them on a level that defies and is above politics. The culture always trumps politics. And Trump understands culture like no politician I've ever seen.
All right, this was actually on Fox News, and that's one of the most preposterous things I've ever heard in my life.
I mean, how would you know, Max? Did you ask a black person? Do you even have any black friends?
Well, of course I have black friends.
Of course. Are they in the studio today? I don't
know. Why would I have brought them to the studio? It's just the two of us.
We know why you wouldn't have brought them to the studio.
I'm not keeping my black friends from our recording sessions or into silence.
I hate to break it to you, Max, but you're going to have to admit it. The sneaker thing, it's working.
Well, wait a second. How do you know? You're not exactly awash in black people over there yourself, Walter Joseph Masterson IV.
Huh.
Yeah, that's right. It's like the pot calling the kettle African-Americanless.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what we should do, Max?
Oh, yeah, I know what we should do.
We should
call a black
person.
We should call a black person. Yeah. Just dial
Let's
him
call
up.
Rig. U.S. Army.
U.S. Army Overlord.
Yep, there we go.
Great TikToker and Instagrammer. We've met with him at a number of Trump rallies. He's involved. He's passionate.
He's on his 30th banned account.
Yeah, he keeps getting banned. But you know what? I'm progressive. I'll keep an open mind. Let's see what he says.
And just FYI, Max, he's going to be the final word.
Of course, he's black.
You only need to speak to one black person. That's it.
Yeah. If one black person says something, that's how black people feel.
It's a monolith. It's like, that's it. We did it.
Walter, I used to work for the Democrats. I know how polling works.
I'll call.
Yeah, just call him up.
Yeah,
yeah.
Calling him up.
Give him a call.
Calling up a black person.
Calling the black person.
About sneakers for Trump.
Hey, what's going on?
Hey, Rig, how you doing, man? You're live on our show right now.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. We had some questions for you.
Yeah, long time. Great to hear your voice.
Yeah. So, Rig, how do you feel about Donald Trump?
Like my uncut opinion?
Yeah, your actual opinion.
Yeah. How do you feel?
I think Donald Trump was a complete shit stain on democracy. I think only people voted for him because it was absolutely racist. Mm-hmm. He's the absolute worst president in history. Mm-hmm. 91 felonies, convicted of being a rapist, convicted of them, being a fraudster. And look what he's done to the country in 4 years. He completely made me regret ever supporting the Republican Party, right? Because he's been able to take over it so completely. And so, yeah, I despise Trump. And not only that,
Okay,
I despise people who still follow him.
Okay. Now, I understand you feel that way now.
Okay, yeah.
Did you know that he came out with his own sneaker?
Oh, yes. The Air Felonies. Yeah, I saw that.
So
these were priced for $400.
Yeah. Well, now that he has a sneaker, though.
Yeah, how do you feel about him now? Huh?
Yeah. After the sneakers, huh? Well, I'm gonna probably still go with some Nikes instead.
Because you say that, but according to Fox News, I mean, because you're
I saw that.
Yeah, we were watching Fox News, and we watch Fox News a lot to understand black people and stuff. And they're saying,
"Hey,
yeah,
are you guys just asking this because I'm black?"
What?
What are you talking about? Rake, I can't hear you. I think we lost him.
Oh, we got disconnected there.
Oh my God, Rake!
Oh no, wait, call him back.
Wait, what? Really?
Yeah.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, sorry about before. Did you know that he has a mugshot now?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I heard that bullshit. So now that I guess black people supposed to love his ass because he got a mugshot.
Yeah. Is it working?
Right, like so. I guess that's supposed to mean that we're supposed to sympathize with him because now he's one of us, right? Because he got a mugshot.
Well, I mean, I'm not saying that.
Yeah, no,
I'm not.
I mean, that's.
I think it's like particularly like insulting that people think that shit right there because he got a mugshot.
Yeah.
Or because he got a mugshot and somehow he can. But he's even pushing that right that he can symbolize with the black community because we're all criminals.
Well, no, I'm not saying I voted for Hillary.
I didn't even vote at all.
Yeah,
because it was stolen by
look
Biden.
At the time. Anyway.
Yeah. Thanks.
Okay, so call it a draw. Never talk about this again.
Yeah, that's fine.
So IVF.
Oh my God, what did Israel do now?
No. IVF, the thing that people use for fertility.
Oh, in Israel?
No, in America. Anyways, the Alabama Supreme Court recently ruled that the little petri dish where they inseminate an egg before they put it back into a woman, that counts as a child. And this has allowed people to sue a fertility clinic for dropping a sample under a wrongful death statute. And as you might expect, this has caused every fertility clinic in Alabama to stop doing IVF.
Well, that's, because, as Republicans... Okay, I got nothing, dude.
Yeah, I know. But
we had a bit that we were trying to work out a bit for this.
There's something about like the hypocrisy, like they want more kids, everything's a kid.
Tommy Tuberville just said, "Hey, I got this," and
here he is, senator from Alabama.
Do you have a reaction to the Alabama Supreme Court ruling on the fact that embryos are children?
Yeah, I was all for it. You just got to look at everything going on in the country. It's just an attack on families, attack on kids. Anything that we can do for the future of our young people, because they're our number one commodity, we need to have more kids. We need to have an opportunity to do that. And I thought this was the right thing to do. But
IVF is used to have more children, and right now IVF services are paused at some of the clinics in Alabama. Aren't you concerned that this could impact people who are trying to have kids?
Well, that's for another conversation. I think the big thing is right now you go back to the situation and try to work it out to where it's best for everybody. I mean, that's what the whole abortion issue is about. So
this really isn't about abortion. It's about IVF and the concern that now families might not have access to it.
But it's about the same direction. But I agree. But people need to have access. People need to have. We need more kids. We need the people to have the opportunity to have kids. I'd have to look at the entire bill and how it's written. I have not seen it.
Supreme Court decision.
Well, I know that, but I'd have to look. I haven't looked at it. But this is state issue.
Women aren't going to be able to have IVF treatments already in some places.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
What do you say to them?
Unfortunate.
Unfortunate. Alienate swing voters in the general election.
I don't know. It might.
Whenever a conservative politician runs out of talking points, it sounds a lot like you're speaking to ChatGPT. Or not even like one of those automated assistants like on a website that doesn't want to pay a human being to do tech support.
I mean, I just sounds like talking to an NPC. It's like, right, I hear the king has a new advisor.
Yeah, right. It's like, we definitely want more children. It's like, this will prevent that. Well, we definitely want more children. I'm going to bed. Yeah. And over the last week, we've seen the entire GOP just collapse into confusion. Donald Trump himself has vowed to protect IVF, and we see a lot of GOP politicians coming out as the saviors of IVF, and don't fucking let them. Yeah. You said made this thing on Instagram with Dem strategist Keith Edwards collecting tweets from Republican representatives that are like, I am a woman and I stand with mothers. My child was conceived of IVF. And it's paired with the you should knows about them sponsoring bills that that would do the exact same thing.
Although it's like perfect. It's like perfect like conservative stuff where the woman says, oh, I used IVF. And right after I used IVF, I turned my ass around and vetoed.
Closed the door.
And closed the door for the rest of America.
It's not even vetoed. It's like, I will stop any and all efforts to ban IVF. And also sponsored a bill called Life at Conception Act that does not allow a carve out for IVF.
I mean, they like literally like some of them didn't even go back to delete their own tweets.
Yeah, no, it's still there.
And the best part is, I feel it will like neoliberals will listen to this and be like, aha, yes, this is the smoking gun. We've all. Meanwhile, like it's like no, this is. Information is siloed.
Yeah.
Information is siloed in this country. Like their base will not even hear about it.
Yeah.
And if you did show it to them, they would just, move the goalpost.
Yeah, they'd be like, well, I think they were about protecting children. No one could have predicted. This is something they love saying after a decision that they make has negative consequences that we all tell them.
Yeah.
Like, hey, this is going to happen. It's like, well, no one could have known. No one could have known if we make guns and assault weapons readily available to the American public.
No one could have known what would happen if we took the founder of Libs of TikTok and appointed them to a major school board position for our state.
I mean, this really isn't about abortion.
This is the exact same shit that they're going to say in 10 years when climate change really comes home to roost. It's like, well, we are going to stand up for the American people. Someone let the climate get all out of whack.
Yeah, I'm like, they could look back and say, hey, we wanted to do something about climate change, but, Biden.
Yeah.
And
they're doing it now. Remember the tax bill that Republicans passed under Trump in 2018 that expired for most Americans and was permanent for rich Americans? They are blaming Biden for your tax bill this April, even though it's them who did it.
Yeah.
They are counting on you not to keep receipts on this stuff. And so in these next couple of months, they are going to be crusaders to protect IVF. And if you are grateful for them, congratulations, you're a mark. Yeah. Like, you are just the softest pigeon that they've ever stooled. That's not right.
That sounds like it should be right. That's like,
yeah.
It's better than Magadonians.
It is better
than Alexander the Great.
I came up with
how
pigeon.
Alexander the Great just
gathered those Macedonians.
He's like, hey, Macedonia, one more time.
He's from there. It's like, how like when we go to war, we gather up Americans. They're there. They're gathered. And I legitimately have no idea what the Republicans are going to do about this, which is why we brought in an expert. This is Joseph Avery, a Republican strategist helping them get out of this pickle.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, so you have a plan that's going to undo a lot of the damage from all the policies that the GOP has knowingly written over the course of the last 10 years.
Thank you for having me. And let me just start by saying that no one could have known that this was going to happen.
What about all the Democratic Congress people, the advocacy groups, the marches, the protests that said, hey, if you call everything a child, it's going to have unintended consequences?
We don't negotiate with Hamas.
Okay. Well, what do you propose to do to undo the damage that you guys did with your legislation?
Thank you for asking that. So we are going to put forth legislation in Congress that's going to protect children. It's going to protect IVF. It's going to ban contraception and the female orgasm.
Okay. Well, a lot of people have worried that banning contraceptives are the next. What was the last thing?
condoms. They're so loose and baggy. I mean, who are they even for? Am I right?
No, there's a lot to unpack there. No, the other thing?
Of the female orgasm. Yeah, we're going to ban it.
You're going to make it illegal?
When was the last time you heard of a woman having an orgasm? It's kind of a myth.
No, it happens.
Okay. You know what? I'm not going to argue fairy tales with you. You know, it's because of the woke left that we are losing manpower, and it's making men feel bad about themselves when they can't perform, so to speak. Yeah. So we think this bill is going to protect the nuclear family while also silencing the sister-in-law.
The sister-in-law?
Yeah, the sister-in-law yeah, and she keeps, nagging you and nagging your wife, saying, when are you going to make her come? This is we're nicknaming
feel like
it the anti-WAP bill.
The anti-WAP being wet ass.
Yeah, you can. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So you want to dry those out?
Absolutely.
Now, what do you say to people that says this is very Handmaid's Tale?
I don't watch TikTok.
No, it's a book. What do you say to people that say that this is very authoritarian, that you're taking control of the most intimate moments between private citizens, government overreach, 1984?
So we want to deregulate the nuclear family.
But this is more regulations. So.
Oh, but we're trying to save the children. Nancy Pelosi, the Dragonborn, as you've been asleep a long time.
Oh, no, I've broken it.
Oh, welcome to my shop. Are you looking to protect yourself or do some damage?
Okay, well, we'll be right back. Welcome back to We Are Not Journalists, the only show that is illegal in Finland.
Max, I think what Tommy Tuberville is doing here is just awful.
The fact that he is espousing hypocritical views, he doesn't understand one of the major things he's legislated on.
I mean, that's just, we expect that. He's stealing our bit.
Yeah. Oh my God. We have to work so hard to come up with premises that are going to show how people on the right don't understand the basic policies that get them to contradict themselves. With Jack Posobiec saying the quiet part out loud, there's very little space for us left.
Yeah, and it gets even worse than that.
Worse.
Play the clip again.
Okay.
IVF is used to have more children, and right now IVF services are paused at some of the clinics in Alabama. Aren't you concerned that this could impact people who are trying to have kids?
So
this really isn't about abortion, it's about IVF.
I'd have to look at the entire bill and how it's written. I have not seen it.
Supreme Court decision.
Well, I know that.
Did you hear that?
What?
That was a journalist from Legacy Media asking a basic follow-up question.
You're right. That is what's happening. I didn't know they knew how to do that.
Yeah, if they keep doing this, I mean, we'll be out of a job. It's like you got these guys saying the quiet part out loud and reporters asking basic follow-up questions.
They are acting like journalists. It's amazing what they can do when they have an issue that impacts moderates that also doesn't offend their corporate sponsors. Because let's be real, these folks are more than happy to have an oil exec on their show to both sides climate change in the passive voice.
Yes, Max. And speaking of offending corporate sponsors, let's talk about our trip to the Michigan Trump rally that we took last week.
Oh, yeah, our old classic bread and butter. You can't take that away from us Republicans.
Yeah, so we flew out to Michigan on JetBlue, and it was such...
It was an experience.
It was an experience on a plane.
We were there.
We got off, and we immediately said...
New York to Michigan, the best 7 hours I've ever had.
Yeah. It's a 7-hour flight on JetBlue.
10-hour drive.
Yeah. And so we had such time that we made a spec commercial for JetBlue, and we sent it to them.
And they said, absolutely not.
Yeah. So
please do not air this.
Yeah, so here it is. We're JetBlue, and we're excited to have you on board.
We're JetBlue, and it's just going to be another 50 minutes or so.
We're JetBlue, and we can't seem to find the plane.
We're JetBlue. We found your plane, but where's the pilot?
We're JetBlue. We found the pilot, but it's Greg, and he's a little...
We're JetBlue. Greg died, so it'll be another 40 minutes.
We're JetBlue. We found another pilot, but the plane won't start.
We're JetBlue. We found you another plane, but it exploded.
We're JetBlue. Greg's awake and he's angry. It's going to be another 40 minutes.
We're JetBlue, and maybe you should try living in the airport.
We're JetBlue, and if you can afford better, you wouldn't be here.
We're JetBlue, and you should go f*** yourself, you poor piece of shit. Why don't you die in a fire?
We're JetBlue, and we're the fun airline.
How petty are we?
I love how we were so
this
tired and beleaguered, and then the two of us had this just shit-eating grin on our faces. We looked, we're like, let's make a commercial.
I think we're a little...
it. Literally standing right outside the gate. People are like, all right, they finally got out. They just evacuated. They're like, get me out of this airport. We're like,
we're not going home until we should. Like, this is like a pathological amount of pettiness. I'm worried to talk to my therapist about this.
Yeah. And it invigorated us. We were like, yeah.
Oh, actually, did I tell you that my therapist broke when I told her about this Michigan rally? She is so good at being like, well, you have to understand other people's perspectives. Like, she doesn't weigh in with her percent. I told her about the consent thing, and she's like, the fuck is wrong with these people?
Oh, right. Yeah, we haven't told our audience about consent.
No, that's a teaser. That's whetting the appetite.
Oh, yes.
You feeling wet yet, audience?
Yeah,
no.
you feeling wet? Yeah.
No, don't like that.
I don't think my daughter should be learning what consent is.
No, that's ridiculous.
Does anyone care about the migrant crisis in this country? Has anyone personally been affected by it?
How has it affected you personally?
Nothing. It hasn't.
So what's happened to you?
Well, nothing personally.
If Democrats do somehow steal this election again, there will be a civil war.
So you would support health care for all?
I guess I would, yeah.
Taylor Swift is a psyop.
Yes. So anyway, we were there because Trump was speaking.
At an airstrip so he could fly in, touch the ground for 20 seconds, and then back out of the state. He doesn't like Michigan for some reason.
Yeah, I know. There was something envious about it. I'm watching him. He just came out, and then he just gets right back on the plane. And I was like, you know what? That's a good call.
His $1 million donors are like, do you want to get dinner after this? He's like, not here. And then, bye.
And the funny part is he came from the sneaker rally
in Philadelphia,
sneaker show in Philadelphia.
If only that sneaker rally had happened a couple days earlier, we might have seen some black Trump supporters there.
I know. In Michigan, it would have just been.
It's outside Detroit.
It just would have been just black Trump supporters.
I'm sure.
Like there wouldn't have been any room for white people because of DEI and all that. Woke stuff.
My goodness! Yep. That's what happens. You release a sneaker, and then where are white people anymore? Where are they supposed to go? Who are they supposed to support? Joe Biden.
Where are white people even supposed to be anymore? There's no.
Oh my goodness! Anyway, we were out there with a group called Distill Social, which a couple of ladies who were just swell.
They do real stuff. Okay, Distill Social. Go follow them on every platform. There
are actual organizers. They put
just
boots
think
on the
about
ground.
what we do, but if it was well-meaning, if it was organized,
professional,
part
of a plan,
coherent.
Like we're the Joker, aren't we? We're just like, we don't have a plan. We're just doing stuff.
They do what we do, and they
like if we were smart.
Yeah. So
I think we're funnier though.
Yeah, I mean, because women are just
wow. Wow. Just because I didn't bring any women with me in the studio today.
I know and so these women were there, freezing cold, doing their thing. They also had a truck that drove through with a sign.
Yeah, making fun of Trump's connection to Putin. They had a serious game plan, whereas our game plan was mostly loose.
Yeah, loose. Yes,
we were fishing. We hadn't been to MAGA in a while, and we wanted to see what was hot.
We asked them, "What are your most important issues as a voter?"
And then, just like legacy media is capable of doing from time to time, we asked a follow-up question.
Ooh.
And you won't believe what happened next.
What's the biggest issue for you right now as a voter?
I believe immigration is a huge problem right now.
What's one of the biggest issues for you right now as a voter?
Border security.
The border.
Yeah, the border, definitely.
What's your biggest concern as a voter?
Probably the border. I would have to say probably the illegal immigration.
What's the biggest issue right now that you want to see solved?
Closing the border.
What's one of the biggest issues you care about as a voter?
Build the wall. Build the wall.
Build the
Build the
wall.
wall. That's the most important thing.
The migrant crisis, how has it affected you personally?
It hasn't.
Personally, I don't think I've been personally affected yet.
Wait, why not?
Well, there's no services being used in the small town that I'm used. They haven't overwhelmed my little small town. They haven't affected my work yet or anything like that. However, it's affected me thinking that it's possible there could be terrorists coming through there.
We're looking for people that had, a personal story about how they're affected by the southern border and the border crisis. Does anyone here have a story?
No.
What's the number one issue you have as a voter?
Letting people on the border, on immigrants.
Have you been personally affected by the migrant crisis?
Not so far. I haven't seen anything.
Does anyone have a personal story of how they were affected by the migrant crisis?
Does anyone care about the migrant crisis in this country? Has anyone personally been affected by it?
We all are personally affected by it.
Oh, good. Do you have a good story about it? We're trying to get one person to tell us their personal.
I don't have a direct story, but gotta find someone with a direct story.
I know, that's what we're trying to do. That's why we're calling out, bothering people. But someone's gonna have one. It's so important, to all of us. It's my number one issue.
What are you looking for?
We're looking for someone with a personal story about the migrant crisis or the border.
Not have a personal story.
Yeah, because everyone cares about it, right? It's like our number one issue. Yeah, does anyone have a personal story about the migrant crisis? Anyone? This is going to ruin our day if we can't find a single person.
I haven't personally been affected, but I don't like the fact that the drugs are affecting millions.
Personal? Anyone? No? No? No one? You have one? You have a personal story about the border?
I don't have a social story of the border, but I was really pissed off that one judge, Carney Barrett, when she struck down the border thing in Texas because it was so important that we need.
We're trying to get personal stories about the migrant crisis.
Anyone have a good one?
The migrant crisis, is anyone? So you've been
I don't have a
Oh, you're okay.
Does anyone have a good personal story about the migrant crisis? We're trying to get one for our podcast. Like something that happened to them or maybe someone they know. Just happened to you or happened to a friend? No?
We want to see if anyone's had a personal story where the migrant crisis affected them.
I wish I did.
I wish you did too. Has anyone here been personally affected by the migrant crisis? Anyone?
How many of you care about a strong southern border? Huh?
Me.
Yeah.
Strong southern
Yeah.
border.
So do you have a thing about? Do you have a story about how the migrant crisis has personally affected you?
Well, I am from New York State, so I get a lot of stories, and I see a lot of stories that's going on with New York State.
So what's happened to you?
Well, nothing personally.
Your family, do they have a personal story?
Yeah, they're trashing hotels. They're trashing motels.
Your family owns these hotels?
No, they don't own any hotels.
So wait, okay, yeah, we're trying to find someone. We want someone to say all right, this is our hotel and it was trashed and everything, because they're trying to get
Otherwise it's just he said, she said.
Yeah. I don't have any personal.
And this is the number one issue you have as a voter.
Oh yeah, without a doubt, number one issue.
We'll have a personal story about how they were affected.
Yeah, I don't.
Oh, okay.
I don't.
Thank you.
What is your number one issue?
Pardon?
The number one issue you have as a voter.
I don't want it. I want the wall.
I know you think that we are pulling these clips selectively. We asked literally everyone there. There was 800 people. We went up and down the line. It was like, please, we are trying to support Trump. Can you tell us one personal story that you have?
And it's just crickets. Except, to be fair, we did find someone that was personally affected by the border.
Hey, I'll tell you something. I'm from Canada. It took me a half hour to cross the border legally, okay? And meanwhile...
Wait, hang on. Do you guys know this guy?
No. I can show you my driver's license.
We should vet him. Coming across our border, stealing our jobs, going to our rallies.
It sucks.
Yeah.
Coming across legally takes you forever. They grill you.
But they grill you? It's really intense?
Yeah. They grill you. Want to know what you know? Open the trunk, open the windows. Let's see what's in the car.
Sounds like they're doing it right by that border.
Oh, they're doing it right. But my point is, I'm just a middle-class Canadian, and they're giving me crap. And meanwhile, anyone can come across the southern border.
Well, next time you should fly to Tijuana and then drive back up.
So when we started asking people what their number one issue is, we didn't really have a scheme, but as it just went on and on, this is their number one issue, and it doesn't affect any of them.
And I just want to also make it very clear. We're in Michigan. We're bordering with Canada. They're like, no. It's not the Canadian southern border. Because, it'd be reasonable if they were like, oh, yeah, of course, yes, we border Canada and, Canadians and whatever.
I would expect them to have a personal story if that was an issue then.
Yeah. And they're like, no, the southern border migrant crisis.
They are out there in 20-degree weather to support a man who's going to fix this issue for them. They care so passionately about it that they will donate thousands of dollars to him. And it does not affect anyone they've ever met in their lives. Devastating. But you know what's worse? Do you know what the worst thing is? In this edition of We Learned Something So Terrible That You Have to Know It Too.
Yes. Yes. We know it. Now you know it as well.
And
welcome.
Yeah, they're teaching my daughter about consent.
Consent?
Yeah.
There's the consent about
what is consent?
Without your parents knowing what the teachers are doing? Is it a sexual term? Yeah. I didn't know.
So you know what consent is?
No.
Oh, okay. So consent is like if someone is gonna
putting a banana in a vagina.
Yeah, and that's but you have to consent to that.
You have to say yes, that's okay.
Yes, that's okay, or no, that's not okay. And if you don't give consent, then it's rape or something.
Right.
Again, I want you to know going into this that this wasn't the bit we intended. We got sidetracked from the bit.
We were trying to do a little finesse move here. And they
didn't even get to the starting line.
Yeah, we were
in the parking lot of the racetrack. They got hit by a bus.
Yeah, we were like,
my daughter. They're teaching her about consent.
Have you heard of this? How old is your daughter?
That's a great question. You know what? How old should she be? How old do you? What 18. Age? So 18, then she can learn about consent.
Yes.
Yeah.
Until then,
thank you.
Anyone should get their ass beat.
Technically,
yeah,
I believe that technically the age of consent in Michigan is 16.
No, she shouldn't be learning what is consent.
Well, right. How old is she though? Like
13, and
13. No.
That's too young to be teaching someone a child about consent. What is consent?
Well, they want to mutilate our children too.
Yeah.
Teach them that they should transition. That's the solution to whatever issues they may or may not have, and they do permanent damage to our kids, and that's a shame.
It's Luciferian. That's what it is. It's called manufactured consent. It's a seduction routine, and the worst. It's very Luciferian, and it's very hard for a lot of people to wrap their minds around it because most people in the world do not grasp the concept how evil a lot of people are that get into positions to be able to say that it's okay to show pornography to children.
What did you say the age of consent was in Michigan?
I think the age of consent is 16 in the state of Michigan. It's different from federal law.
We're talking to young voters and stuff about the woke indoctrination. Are you in school?
Yeah.
What's it like with all this woke indoctrination stuff?
It's terrible.
Yeah.
It's just terrible.
What does it look like?
It's bad. It looks bad.
Yeah. Like specifically, what is it? What are they doing to you?
It's just terrible stuff,
Yeah.
Terrible. Such as?
Yeah, we're just looking for an example of what's going on in your school. What are they doing to you?
Terrible stuff.
Yeah.
Somehow, as MAGA Republicans, we're kicking cow poop off our boots, using the N-word and anti-LGBTQ+, and that's ridiculous. Stay away from our kids till they're 13 years old. The bottom line is, let's teach anatomy, right? And let's let people make their own decisions about what they want to do with their lives.
I had to deal with that with my daughter's thing. So she does child beauty pageants. Recently, in the swimsuit competition things, someone came in, this girl was wearing a rainbow bikini, and it totally distracted everyone. It distracted my daughter. She nearly fell off the pole and ruined everything.
It's ridiculous. It's essentially, it's grooming is what it is. It's absolutely ridiculous. We've got to get back on the tracks. We need common sense back.
In my daughter's school, they're teaching consent. And I don't think my daughter should be learning what consent is.
No, that's ridiculous. That's not something for the schools. Let's stick with math, reading, writing,
science and math. They're teaching my daughter what is consent.
It's ridiculous.
My daughter, they're teaching her consent. And I was like, this is ridiculous. You shouldn't, stick to science, stick to math. You don't need to teach my daughter about consent.
No, school's about just learning the basic shit, you're right.
My daughter right now, they're teaching her consent.
Yeah.
Which is like ridiculous. It's like, girls shouldn't be learning about consent.
Yeah, like non-binary and stuff, it's terrible.
Again, this isn't what we had planned.
I know, we had like a whole thing.
We rewrote this whole story out.
And we couldn't even get to the story. We're like mentioning consent. And they're like, what's that?
And we were just like,
wait. We're like, okay, this is the bit.
We have overthought this tremendously. And then after that, we're just like,
that first guy, he was like, I was like, I wasn't expecting to be like, he just flat out was like, what is that?
Oh my God.
And,
yeah.
I actually was kind of stunned myself because I wasn't.
It's a verb. It's like a normal word.
I wasn't expecting to have to explain it because I was like, well, I wasn't. That wasn't in my script.
Yeah. Wait.
Okay.
We're doing this now.
I didn't think I'd have to start from the beginning. You know what I mean?
Right. Well,
the beginning of like the definition.
I don't know how many times we have to learn this lesson that MAGA is only passionate about things they don't understand in the least. But of course, a voting bloc that cares most about groomers taking advantage of children wouldn't want their kids to know how to say no thank you to sexual advances. And like, I'm sure that there's people out there who have had long conversations with conservatives where they're just like, I can't believe these monsters don't even want us to teach consent. No, they're not monsters. They're idiots. They don't know what you're talking about. You're mad at them because you assume that they understand the stakes and what you're trying to do about it. They don't. Yeah. Like, not in the slightest. And this is one of those things that after the first person, we just had to ask everyone because someone surely had heard of consent, the verb. Noun? I consent. This is it's both.
Yeah.
Anywho, this is what made my therapist just collapse in a pile for about a minute straight.
That's great. You finally. She's like, I'm not an empath anymore.
I've been trying to take her down a notch since we started.
She dropped the whole empath routine. Yeah. She's like, yeah, you know what? I'm not an empath anymore. That's okay.
She just became a person for a hot second, and that's all I wanted. I just wanted to put points on the board,
Yeah.
I've told her about so many MAGA events, and she's been like, well, it seems like people have a very different perspective than you. This time she's like, I can't.
She like threw her clipboard. I hope you did it like right at the end too.
Yeah.
Right when when she's gonna be like, well, our 55 minutes are up, and she.
No, we went long that day.
Yeah. You did it right at the end, and she'll be like, you know what, you son of a bitch.
Yeah. All right, I'm pushing my next client. We're talking about this. Oh man. And then, throughout the day, we also just we were out there in the freezing cold until we could not feel our faces anymore. And we were just getting hit after hit after hit.
Donald Trump said it himself when he quoted 2 Chronicles 7:14, which is one of my favorite verses out of the Bible. It says that if my people, which are called by my name, will humble themselves.
Being humble really is
important. It's number one. The Bible says he doesn't humble you. The Bible asks you. God says, ask us to humble ourselves, and his ability to actually have
No, that's not. Is that him? We'll know because we'll know if it's his plane because it says Donald Trump on it. Yeah. I'm sorry. Wait, we were talking about humility.
Yes.
Oh, so yeah, humility.
So the Bible calls us to actually humble ourselves.
There's nothing you can say to convince me that plane flying over in the moment while we're talking to him was not an act of God in itself.
Someone's on our side.
That was like he's talking to me about God, and then the plane flew overhead. You and I looked at each other. We're like, "This is the best joke."
Yeah, it's like, oh, humility. And yeah, I was just like, "Hey, Walter, is that Trump's plane?" And I just saw the realization dawn in your eyes, and you just turned to him with this grin. It's like, oh yeah, is it Trump's plane? Because if it's Trump's plane, it's gonna have his name on the side. I could have kissed you in that moment.
Yeah, like, you said it, and I was like, oh, right, yes.
Humility. The guy who puts his name on literally everything and sells gold toilets. You know what I think was actually really interesting? I think a lot of times we do things like convincing people to follow communism by not saying buzzwords. This time, they were kind of coming to us.
Yeah. So, okay. So just before you lose all faith in humanity, we're gonna play just a medley of times where they came very close, like close enough where like, all right, I wanted to give him a hug and just say, all right, dude, you're almost there, bro.
If they weren't voting for someone who wanted the exact opposite of all the things that they care about.
Oh yeah. I mean, they came so close, then they swerved right off the road. They closed their eyes.
I don't even think they came close. I think that they are in the same social economic class that we are in. And so all of their interests are aligned with progressive interests. And so, of course, if you ask them, they would care about this stuff. We find this from time to time. It's just that last little step.
So what do you think about all this climate change?
I think we need to get stuff done. I think climate change is a big issue. I think a lot of people are not really focusing on it too much.
Do you think it's real though?
It's as real. I don't know how to say it. I guess the best way of saying it is they're trying to focus more on the public trying to change global warming instead of the big corporates trying to change, because the corporates are the biggest thing is using plastic, tons of plastic. They're polluting our planet, and they're telling us to stop using plastic, stop doing all this stuff to help climate change and help not pollute the planet. And I think we need to start putting in some policies for corporates and companies to...
Yeah, it's not a person. They try to make it, the corporations do this, or they make it like a person, what's your carbon footprint? And it's, you have 100 corporations doing the majority of the polluting and the carbon greenhouse gases and everything.
They want us to change, and we're trying, but when these companies give us products that are plastic, they give us plastic, or they give us
single-use plastic.
Exactly.
Single-use plastic. Yep.
Exactly. So.
I mean, I think I'm more plastic than I am man right now.
Yeah, microplastic. Yeah.
But yeah. So we go back to drilling.
But yeah, so what were you saying about the drilling? So we're not drilling enough.
We're not drilling enough. We need more resources. Our economy is going to shit. Things are inflated. Gas prices are rising. When Trump was in office, gas prices were...
Because we're not drilling enough.
The best.
Yeah,
We're not.
And there's a lot of other fun footage from our Michigan rally on Walter's YouTube. You should check it out. And next week, we are going to be dropping a lot of clips from Walter's trip to CPAC.
Yeah.
And it's going to be fun. Maybe we'll have a guest on.
Anything can happen.
Yeah, it's crazy. Who knows what the headlines are going to be? Can you imagine? We're probably going to say something like, oh, that seems stupid. Spoilers. But the IVF thing has gotten me thinking that we should really do something about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so let's talk to a champion of women's rights about it this show and see if we can get them to weigh in.
Thank you for calling the Central Texas office of U.S. Senator Ted Cruz. We are currently unavailable at this time. Please leave a brief message with your name, phone number, email address, and zip code. Thank you.
Hey there. I just wanted the senator to know that my wife and I have been considering using IVF in order to get pregnant, and I hope that you will do what you can to prevent IVF from being banned in the state of Texas, despite all of your efforts to restrict women's rights, you troglodyte, barbarian, Christo-fascist monster.
Max. Just a quick question. Is there a problem out there that you're trying to fix that you didn't actively fucking cause?
Yeah, hey, a great thing you could do to protect women's bodies and IVF and fertility rights is to resign and let someone who gives a shit about Americans do something that doesn't fucking make everything fucking worse.
The Zodiac Killer!
Thank you. Have a wonderful week. See, I decided to add that at the end because I want them to know that we care.
I like that. It's good. It's a good way to end the call. It's a good way to end the dialogue.
You catch more flies with honey than vinegar.
Yeah.
Flies. Speaking of, if you're looking to fly this...
don't use JetBlue.
No.
So
flies. Oh, hey, speaking of flying, if you want to fly this friendly skies with people that might lose the airplane while you're on it, consider JetBlue.
Consider
JetBlue. Is there a way that they can unsponsor, like negative sponsor us, like just take money out of the show?
You mean sue us?
Yes, that's the word.
Yes, it's called a lawsuit.
Huh.
Yeah, but that's not applicable here.
Yeah, I can't be. We're gonna talk to a lawyer. See you next week, friends.